We are officially live. Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome.
The Holy Ghost.
This is body voice.
We have a very holy Jew with us
Yeah.
who will remain off the camera.
Hi.
He will remain anonymous.
Yeah.
So you see my name right away.
Well, we'll give you a hint. He's in almost every single Lava Malka video,
Oh.
either on the screen or off the screen.
He's not a stranger.
Huh?
You should off the screen lately. You've been keeping more on yourself lately.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a. Yeah, it's true.
It's also
The camera is a little self-centered.
No, it's also the setup.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
We want to put a pretty face forward.
Aww.
You
I
were
don't know-
saying something about
I don't know if they can hear you. I don't know, they can't hear your compliments.
Oh, yeah, exactly. The ghost.
No, they could. It's just in the background. But yeah. Okay. So this week's parsha is yes. Oh man! If you're gonna talk this much, you're gonna come on camera. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
exactly. You're asking for it.
Oh, you need a mic. That's true. We have to get you a mic.
Come, we'll share.
Okay, so it's Parshas Shelach. The big thing about Parshas Shelach is that
on cameras, the camera adds 10 pounds. You have 3 cameras. I can't afford that.
3 cameras, 3 people.
oh, to be on the camera. Oh, get it?
Camera adds 10 pounds, so there's 3 of them. That's 30 pounds. I don't need that.
Oh, you mean?
Puts on that your 30 man.
Yes, you can use the 30 pounds. I can't.
Hey, I cannot use any pounds. I'm good.
You're skinny.
Okay.
He's a biker.
You should have. Okay, let's talk about what we came here to talk about, which is the Parsha.
Lunch, bro. I can't believe you. Okay.
I'm not.
Okay.
Oh, vey. There's so much distractions, including this. Okay.
Right.
By the way, New York City. This is one of the. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. It's very.
Soundproof booth.
Right. You're like.
That's it, Ilya. We had to fund the soundproof your whole place. Why? Because we need a better studio for shooting the Parshah.
I'm on board.
Okay. So the name of the Parsha is Shelach, which means send, because that's when the Meraglim were sent, and we know that they went. Right. They all went, and they didn't speak well about Eretz Yisrael, except for Kalev and Yeshua. Go watch last week's. I do this every week. Last year's video. Go watch it. There's a lot of interesting information there. Yeah. Go do that after this.
No, Google it now.
if you can listen to both in double task, sure. And then the next thing in the parsha is that once they do that, so in all the Yidden doubt if they can go to Eretz Yisrael and they're mourning, and so Hashem says, "You're crying. I'll give you something to cry about." Well, that's a little bit harsh, but yeah. And then that was Tisha B'av, actually. Then the next morning, they decided that they wanted to go ahead and fight anyways. And unfortunately, many, many Jews died. But the miraculous thing was that anybody who killed a Jew, they also dropped dead, like a bee. When it lets go of its stinger, it dies. And then the pasuk talks about the laws of Nesachim, right? So different offerings that are brought. And talks about the mitzvah of hafrashas challah, setting aside a dough for the kohen, for Hashem. As we have another hint. The person who's off camera is a kohen.
Give me my challah.
All this time I didn't even ask him for a blessing. Come in.
At the end.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we're going to talk about blessings from last week.
That's right.
Very good. And Hashem says to put tzitzis on 4 corner, right? To make mitzvah of tzitzis. And then it talks about, before that it talks about the person who was put to death for gathering sticks on Shabbos, right? The Makoshesh Eitz and the one. Anyway, that's basically the gist of the parsha. And now let's get into the meat and potatoes. So,
That's right.
the number one thing we're going to mention, the first thing we're going to mention, something from last week. Last week, Ilya asked about blessing children. What was your question?
Which one do you do first? Do you bless your children first, or do you get a blessing first?
Okay, so I don't have a direct answer for that question. I looked a little bit, but I actually called my father and asked him. He says he doesn't really know the answer, if there's any halachic answer, but it would make sense that you're supposed to honor the oldest one, and therefore it makes sense that he should bless first. But in researching this, I came up with some interesting stuff.
Okay.
Why, first of all, do we have this minhag to bless the children on Friday night? Well, what's the reason to begin with? So there's a few reasons. One of the reasons is because the Satan cannot be mekatrig on Shabbos. So therefore, any blessing you give is not going to have any pushback.
Interaction.
No, right? The Satan can't. So you can give a blessing and he's out of the picture, right? You kick him out of the room, out the door, and you give a blessing. So it's just the most opportune time. Another reason is along the same lines, which is that the pipeline of blessings are open then, right? It's a good time to give blessings. I actually saw, and I forgot where I saw this. It says that we give a blessing with the hands, and that the reason for that is because on Shabbos, especially, I think it's singled out Friday night. There's a special holiness on the hands of a person, which is incredible, you know. And also imagine all the mitzvahs you do with your hands. You hold the kiddush cup, you make the bracha on the challah. So Havdalah is at the end of Shabbos. I think Friday night especially, it's interesting, you know. It's not the only time we do brachas with mitzvahs with our hands. I'm just saying the fact that it doesn't say this anywhere about for all these mitzvahs. I'm just saying, like, it's also credible. There's a kedusha on the hands that it does say, and you're also doing all these mitzvahs with the hands.
Also, don't forget that when we come home, all the malachim that are following you, so they're the ones who are going to say amen when you do.
Yes, it does. It did mention that. It said that because also the evil angel has to answer amen, so therefore everybody answers amen. It's a time when everyone's forced to say amen to the blessing. So therefore, you know, imagine you can pass a bill in Congress, and even the guys who want to do the most horrible things to the country, they also have to say yay. They're forced to, right? Imagine that.
Yeah.
So,
and then you have a debate with a zombie.
we had to go there. It's my fault. I brought up politics. Okay. And
zombies don't mutter like that.
That they don't.
Sorry.
And it's all good. It's all good. Another thing it says, the Rebbe mentions that the Rebbe mentions a minhag of people coming to their grandparents' house, like so the whole family going before Shabbos and getting a blessing then, which is very interesting.
Actually, when I was a kid, we used to do that.
Mm-hmm.
My grandmother would tell me, "Oh, go to your grandparents' house," to my mom's side, which was like 3 or 4 blocks away. My grandfather was still alive, and we would come to him. All the grandkids would come to him to get a blessing right before Shabbos starts, and then we would go and go home.
So there you go. It's a minhag by the Rebbe mentions this minhag. There's also an idea that everyone can give brachas, just to add in the love, right? The uncles, the aunts, also the mother is no problem. You know, mothers can also give a bracha, and that fits in with with this reason that I'm about to say, which is that one of the reasons for giving a blessing, and this also applies to a teacher, a rebbe, to his students. One of the reasons is because during the week there's a lot of telling off, there's a lot of chastising, rebuking, right? And sometimes there are disagreements between, you know, parents when they're trying to discipline their kids, whatever it is, and so harsh words are exchanged. And so Shabbos is the time when you kind of try to ease the, you know, make up for that. And, you know, God forbid if somebody said something that could be taken like a curse, also then, right, you want to nullify it with the bracha. So that's another reason we're giving a bracha on Friday night, right? The week is over, time to rest, right? We don't have that
you try to forget about all your weekly problems and whatever obstacles you were going through, all
right.
the negativity. You shake it off, and that's it. This is Shabbos, so forget about all whatever you were doing during that week.
Right. It also says that the bracha should be given. It should be given individually, right? You say, Yisimcha Elikim Kefraim Menashe for a boy. For a girl, you say Yisimcha Elikim Kesar Rivka Rachel Leah. But the point, the main point of the blessing is you should give a blessing that makes it feel personal, right? You don't just say, after you say that, you should say, you know, really show the child, you're showing him love, showing that you're paying attention to his personal, right? It's personalized. The bracha is personalized. You're not just giving a generic bracha, you know. So everybody and what they're going through, and giving them a bracha to succeed in in whatever they need to get, whatever hardships they're going through, for that to go away. And it's brought from the Arizal, in the name of the Arizal. What's the reason that the Arizal brought? I'm forgetting.
Well, it's very important to get a blessing from your mother on Shabbos, because Shabbat is actually a woman's day.
Okay.
The whole lighting of the candles and the whole Havdalah, at the end we basically get it's almost like an exchange of power. So Shabbat is a woman's day. The whole day is a woman's day.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones who prepare everything. They're the ones who are lighting the candles. The reason why we light the candle at the end, it's almost as if they're giving back the mantle.
Interesting.
So you have to, it's a must to get a blessing from your mother.
So this is actually what the Arizal was saying. Thank you for the reminder. When I spoke to my father, so one of the things he mentioned was another minhag, which is to kiss the mother's hand Friday night.
Right.
And the blessing also should be done before Kiddush. Both of those things should be done. Some people do it after Kiddush, but from what I've seen, it should be done before Kiddush. But kissing of the mother's hand, I thought it would. I know like a lot of Hasidic people do it. When we were kids, I went to a school that was an ultra-Orthodox school, to the Cheder, yeah. So over there, one of the things you would memorize the Seder, what you would do when you come home from shul. So one of the things you do on the Seder night is you would come and it says Mekish the mama's hand. You kiss the mother's hand. So this is actually a minhag that you do every Friday night, and this is brought down by the Bar Heitev in the name of the Arizal. So I didn't realize this is also like something from the Arizal has some serious, Kabbalistic meaning, and the mother, that's through the mother's hands is the mother symbolizes the home, the taking care of the home and keeping the family together, and through her hands the brachas come. So you can imagine what that means spiritually, and the spiritual mother, what that means in the relationship with Hashem and the Jewish people.
Your father's hands you're supposed to kiss before and after blessing. Your mother's hand you kiss after blessing. Your father's hands you kiss before and after blessing.
This is
we actually have a tradition where, if let's say I bought an aliyah for my father and he's about to go and read, before he comes out to read, he comes out to read.
Right.
And after he's done reading, then you come up to get his blessing. So before he gives you a blessing, you kiss his hand, and then he gives you a blessing, then you kiss his hand again. That's how we usually do it with the father. And with the mother, afterwards, when you come home, when you say unwind, you say everything you're supposed to, and then you sit down, drink the wine, then you get a blessing from the father and the mother.
Interesting.
And all the kids do the same.
Okay. So there you go, guys. If you're wondering what the Bukharian minhag is, this is the Bukharian.
I thought it was also party.
No, I don't. The thing, I only know what happened in my home, which is again also in the.
Your family is more Chabad than Persian custom.
Okay, so there you go.
That's very true. That's what I'm saying.
More diluted.
We switched out the bottle.
So, Yossi, you for the Seder during Dayenu, do you have the scallions?
I only had the scallion. The scallion. For those who don't know, the scallion experience is by Dayenu, because the kids can't wait too long. For high. Yeah, but the Persian kids are a little bit more hyper. No, I'm just kidding. I was gonna say they're more hyper, so they can't wait until hiding the afikoman, but just a joke. No, so they have
during looking for afikoman, nobody got beat up. Nobody was getting beat up by towels. No.
What this is? I never heard.
Don't have it, really?
No, you see, look. You see, the Bukharians are even more hardcore.
Let's say,
even the babies, the newborns, you come up and you somewhat, make it seem as if.
So it seems it's
like a traditional.
Wait, during afikoman or during Dayenu?
No, afikoman. When everybody's looking for the afikoman, so what do? The kids come out with a towel.
They
wrap it up and they start hitting everybody on the back.
Whiplash.
Where is it? Find it. Where did you hide it?
That's interesting because the Persian custom is Dayenu. They come in with the scallions and they beat each other scallions.
Yeah, they take the scallions. And basically, by Dayenu, they go and they hit people. So
the kids do, and so
I didn't even hear about that.
They do this to entertain the kids to keep them more interactive.
Yeah.
But yours is a whole different level.
Yeah, it's a different level, man.
Yours is I gotta find a quote. I can't find it, so I'm gonna tell you to find it for me.
Right.
It's reenacting the
whole-
taskmasters in Mitzrayim.
Right. You're basically telling them, hey, where'd you hide it? Oh, I don't know. It wasn't me. Oh, tell us,
Oh man. So the only time I had this this experience, because we didn't have it at home, was when my father did a communal seder in the shul. So some person came over to me. It was actually a female. He just went bam. I was like, what's going on? But anyway.
But we were looking forward to this as kids.
No, it's a lot of.
Then we would
No,
come
the kids.
outside, all the kids would take all the towels. And we would have a towel war.
When does a Persian kid get to hit the parents?
Yeah.
Not just that, you always have occasionally in the Persians, you have the funny uncle who takes a leak, which looks like it's got steroids.
It's like a big fat.
Yeah, and he's like, "You want to hit? We can go play."
Yeah, that's funny.
He's usually the cool uncle.
Yeah. It's the funny one.
That's funny. Okay, so yeah, that's just to touch on a question we had from last week, and probably it's the grandfather who gives the blessing first.
So, do you know why it's not Chabad custom to do it every Friday night?
I don't think it's
I looked into it. I couldn't find an answer.
because it's not bidavka, not our minhag. It's just not something which became a thing. So it's something I think that the Rebbe spoke of favorably. The Rebbe mentioned it, I think, more than once. So I'm going to start doing it.
From the research I have, because it's interesting. It just a rabbi in Israel, Rabbi Yaakov Goldstein, put out something yesterday about blessing children, and he says like it used to be a very Lubavitch custom. Just for some reason, it's not. It's only done now on Erev Yom Kippur and before the wedding. But he's right. It's at least from my quick read of it, it seems like it just fell out of favor. Not like it's we don't do it.
Right. There are certain things that we don't do.
Right. It's just more along the lines of we don't. It's not that we specifically don't do it. It's more along the lines of it doesn't get done.
It's something that kind of.
It's a beautiful thing to do if you do it.
Right.
But
I think everybody should adopt it. Number one, because it also, if you understand the meaning behind it, there's so many reasons to do it.
Of course.
Now that you understand why it's done, it's like why wouldn't you do this? It's like.
Isn't this the whole reason of why we're doing this in the first place?
I mean,
to understand all these procedures and why we do things, and to
but I'm
have
saying
a better connection with them.
Right, I'm saying sometimes there are minhagim where if you look at this, the reason for why these minhagim are done, so therefore for some people you don't do it. For example, why don't we have this thing of the children looking for the afikaiman? Or sorry, the children in Chabad the children don't steal the afikaiman. Why?
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
The reason for that is because we don't want to promote the idea of theft.
Which I only learned about when I came to Chabad. This whole stealing of
Again, so
it's not my family. My family, my grandfather would hide it.
Right.
It wasn't stealing. It was a hide and seek thing. Like,
Right. It was something that was done for fun. It wasn't like, oh, he stole it. It was.
So again, it doesn't mean that family can't do it on their own, especially if you eliminate the stealing. But there was the idea that kids try to sneak it away when their father isn't looking and demand a ransom for it. Okay, so then you did it good.
Once this was done, there was another tradition, Bahraini tradition that we also did was we wrap it up in like a cloth, and then all the little kids would come by and we would wrap it on their back as if it's their bag, and they would come in and they would come to the eldest person at the table, and he would ask him, "Where are you coming from?" Mitzrayim. Where are you going? Yerushalayim, and everybody starts clapping. Yay! And the kid walks away all happy. They give him some candy or whatever it is.
That's very
cute. And then the next one starts knocking. Hey, come. Who are you? Oh, I'm just a wanderer. Where are you coming from? It's fine. Where are you going? Yerushalayim. Yay! Everybody claps for him. Next.
That's really nice.
That is very nice.
So
that's
that was
really,
special.
really...
We all look forward to it,
Yeah.
Up until like 12 or 11 years old. Then everybody was embarrassed to do it. They're like, oh, well, I'm not a kid anymore.
Right, yeah.
But
at what point do you like,
Everybody loved it. It was a great tradition. Every Passover, everybody looked forward to it.
Wow.
Kids would get ready, to say the whole Lachmo, they would get ready to write it down. They would memorize it so they'll be perfect when it's their turn.
Wow.
That's what made it fun. For
sure. Yeah. I think if there's ever an exhibit that people do about different minhagim, the Seder night is the first one.
Sure.
It's so diverse and it's so interesting. It's also probably the longest time people sit at a table together. If you think about it, there's no longer mandatory. There's nothing.
That's true.
Yeah, it's the longest time people stay together.
You think that was fun, man? Sukkot, it was even more fun. Because all of our cousins would get together. We would go to one of those parks, almost like a Prospect Park or a Flushing Meadow Park, huge park, wherever there's a lot of trees. We would all go there and we'll pick out which branches we're going to cut off so we could put on top of the sukkah, because our parents were building the sukkah, so all the kids would go and get the top. So we were supposed to get all the branches, and the one that had the most leaves and the one that was right, the one that wasn't right, the older kids would tell us this tree is not good, this one is better, this one is not good, this one.
Like a whole scavenger hunt for.
Yeah, so it was fun. We did it. It was so much. We would look forward.
Can you imagine like the shtetl? You know, like shtetl, how things were done. Like, you know, just go look for leaves in the forest and come back.
It was a lot of fun. We had a blast doing it. Now that I remember these things, we were like, wow, none of this is happening here.
Yeah, different times. Okay, so we're gonna go to the parsha.
Yeah, right.
We're gonna, yeah, 20 minutes in. So the something from the Rebbe. If you look at the answer of Kalev to the Meraglim, what happened? Meraglim, they come and they give a bad report, right? So Kalev had to be tricky. He had to be. Is that the only thing that they were complaining about everything that Moshe did? Is that all that Ben Amram did to us? He didn't even call him Moshe. He wanted to really make them believe that he's going to build onto their antagonizing of Moshe and bad mouthing. And so everyone's quiet, and then he says, "You know what else he did for us? He split the sea for us, right? And he brought down the man for us, and he brought us the slav, the fatty birds." So, and then basically he shut them up. And Yeshua and Kalev together, we're going to see, they kept on debunking everything they were trying to say about why they shouldn't go to Eretz Yisrael.
There's a lot about psychology too. Like, even though it's not the point of it, but a good point to bring out, if you want to rebut something when the people are saying completely wrong things, it's a good idea to make them think that you're going along with them. Because if you just start saying, "Oh no, you're wrong," they're not going to listen, or that they're going to start over talking you. But
right, yeah,
sneak it in and make it sound like, "Oh, that Ben Amram," and make it sound like they're like, "Oh, maybe this guy got something good," and then you're start laying on all the good stuff. It's too late. They already listened.
They've given you the stage.
They've given you the stage. Now it's all yours. Now you can just turn the tail to where it should go.
Yeah, so I mean, right, and a common thing like this, not as extreme. It could be like when someone says, "It's like I agree with you," right? And you agree with them on that point. But like when people say, free Palestine," this whole thing, right? And you say, "Yeah, I agree, free Palestine from Hamas," right? So you stop them, right? They're like, "Oh, 1 second, this guy's agreeing with me," and then you spin it.
Yeah.
The
last time I said them, I would agree with you, but I can't get my head up my rear end that high to be able to be that deluded.
Yeah.
They don't find it so funny.
Right. I'm sure they didn't. Demonetized. I don't think so. Not if I could help it. No. Okay, so now these three answers are actually direct rebuttals to things that they said. Right? Because what did they say first? The first thing he says was, "Aza'am hayoshev ba'aretz." Their first complaint was, the people in the land, they're strong, they're tough. So Kalev's rebuttal to that was, you're forgetting, Moshe brought us through a split sea. Like, Hashem is going to take care of us, just like he took care of us when we were being chased by an army. That was the first answer. Then one of the next things they said was that Hachiti bahar v'Knani alayam, right? That the Hittites are on the mountain and the Knani are by the ocean, right? So what are we going to do?
Stuck between
a rock and a hard place, right? A mountain and a river. Mm-hmm. So what are they mentioning? They're mentioning the obstacles. There are things getting in the way of them going to Eretz Yisrael, right? Before they get there, this is what's in the way. And the answer is Hashem took care of us not just when we went out, but also also in the desert. He brought us as down man. So that was a rebuttal to the obstacles on the way. But then they said, what did they say? Amalek Yoshev B'Eretz HaNegev, that Amalek is in the south. And what they were doing then is Amalek, number one, is it symbolizes coldness, lack of emotion, right? Telling someone's excited, hey, calm down, right? Don't get so excited. And they were basically trying to make the Jewish people lose their excitement, enthusiasm for going to the land by saying, Amalek is there. And because you have sinned, well, how did you sin? Because instead of trusting in Hashem, you sent spies. So we already are after the sin. We're not worthy of being brought in anymore. And the answer to that was, even after you, the Jewish people, complained, what happened? Hashem still gave you the birds. So it means that even though maybe we didn't have the proper emunah in Hashem, still Hashem is going to bring us there as we see. So these were the rebuttals. These three things weren't just random things he was saying. They were direct answers to what they were saying. I'm going to actually learn this sikha. Hopefully, I'm going to try to get to it over Shabbos. It's in Chelek Ches of Likutei Sichos, the first sikha. It just sounds very interesting how the Rebbe, connects that.
Yeah, sure.
And the Mayam Leis actually brings that. Number one, it says that the Jewish people were saying they don't want to actually send spies in order to see if they could conquer it. They want to see where the Canaanim are hiding their treasures. Obviously, Hashem knew that this wasn't the truth. And it also says that once they came back, when the spies came back and they realized that Yeshua and Kalev were rebutting everything they were saying, they realized that they couldn't go up against them, so they decided they're going to talk not in front of them. What did they do? It's just very interesting how the Amalek describes what they did in order to get their message of discourage the Jews.
Fake news.
Yeah, they're fake news. They went into their own home and they were quiet. They didn't answer any of them. And they sat down and acted like they couldn't get up. And they were crying and saying all these things. And when they scared their family enough, the family started to cry and to make noise. And then everyone else heard. So they couldn't do it on a public stand. So what did they do? They went,
wow, nothing is new.
Exactly, right?
Wow, nothing is new.
Yep. The same snake-like ways of the past, right? That's how people...
That's how they control the media, basically.
I mean,
they couldn't do it directly at the podium because they were nullified. They were completely nullified.
Yeah.
So what do? They did it in a sneaky way.
That's what they're doing in schools, right? They can't say this, openly, so they go and they embed, right, people in certain positions to be able to, that's exactly what it is. And I'm just going to mention a few things here. So also, just to understand who they were, when they left, they were actually very important people. If you see, Yeshua is mentioned the fifth.
Okay.
And they were mentioned according to their stature.
Okay.
Which means that there were four people who have a greater stature, were more important than Yeshua. Just shows how special they were. And unfortunately, last year we mentioned that they had really lofty intentions and why they decided that they wanted to stay in the desert. You can go check that out. And Moshe didn't send from Shevet Levi. There's no Nasi from Shevet Levi because Shevet Levi doesn't actually get an official part in the land. So therefore, there's no need to send.
Yeah, but Shimon was there, and they didn't have partial land either.
Well, they had a portion.
There's no partial land.
What do you mean?
Officially, Yehuda gave them land, but officially they don't have a piece of land. They're supposed to be going around begging and teaching. It's a bracha from Yaakov Avinu.
He's right. I remember.
No, but I think they officially. Okay, whatever the case is, they ended up with land.
They
were given land.
Yehuda gave
him a portion of his
their
land.
land.
Okay.
But it was officially Yehuda's land. It's where all Shimon lived, where the Levium were spread out through all of the tribes.
Right, all the Shisha Ori Miklat,
Right.
the 42 cities, right?
Right.
Yeah.
They had their own cities, which, whatever, that's another part of the thing, but they didn't have their own land. But Shimon was all together with you in Yehuda's land. They didn't, basically, I don't want to say it, like a projects.
Okay, Hanan, we're definitely going to have to mic you up next time and give you a camera. But anyway, so And we just want to mention, Yeshua and Hoshea, right? The Yeshua, Hashem, last year also, you can go check that out. Why, exactly was he named Yeshua? What was he named first? And we know that last year also we mentioned that Kalev went to the Marsa Machpelah to daven, right? He went to daven by the Marsa Machpelah in order to be. He asked that he shouldn't be influenced by the rest of the spies. We mentioned a bunch of people who went there to pray, but I don't think I mentioned last year when the Beis Hamikdash was being destroyed. Hashem told Eliyahu Hanavi to go to Marsa Machpelah and daven there. So he also went to daven by the Marsa Machpelah. We mentioned a lot of things. Really, go check out last year's video. It's very interesting stuff, including where the Ramban is buried. He has there's 3 potential places where he was buried. So
that was cool.
Yeah. Oh, you remember that? Yeah.
I remember the part. I'm like, wait, was the real Ramban?
Exactly. Now, here's something interesting, and this I didn't realize. Also, I think from the Miyam is so last week finished off with Miriam getting Saras, right? Okay. She spoke about Moshe Rabbeinu, and they waited 7 days. Now that was in Chatzeres. They left Kiver Sataiva, which was where the Slav happened. They left there. When they were in Chatzeres, Miriam spoke, and they waited 7 days for her. The story of Korach, which is next week's Parsha, happened in those 7 days. So Korach actually happened before the sending of the spies.
How come it doesn't talk about Aaron also getting Saras at the same time?
He didn't get.
He did. He got it momentarily.
Oh, he got it for a second, but he wasn't the Mitzvah that had to. Yeah, he got it for a second.
But the reason why the whole nation waited for her for 7 days is because, I heard it from my rabbi. Mm-hmm. He said it's because when Moshe Rabbeinu, when she put him in the river, she waited.
She waited, yeah.
So therefore, they waited for her.
Yeah, exactly.
Rashi brings it too.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. But anyway, so I didn't know this before, this timeline. So.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, I mean I probably learned it, but I didn't.
It's hard to put everything in order.
Well, so the Torah doesn't have to be in order.
And this is proof the Torah is not in chronological.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, but it's crazy. You see all these 3 things. Actually, the Slav also. These are monumental events that happen. You're thinking about 40 years in Israel. It all happened within 7 days, or a little more because the Kibbutz Satava happened before, but all within a month. And if you don't include those things happen within 7 days. They came to, a little more, but basically.
That was the beginning of the 40 years too.
Well, the 40 years didn't exist until the Meraglim.
Correct.
So meaning Korach.
Yeah,
so
right. Within 10 months, and then the 40 years started. Everything happened within those.
Again, they got the Torah, right? They had the whole thing with the Egel, whatever it was. Then they traveled. Yeah, they travel, and then they traveled, and they were in Chatzeres for 7 days waiting, and then they came to Midbar Paran, and the Meraglim, the spies were sent from Paran. So the question is, why does the Torah put Korach after the story of the Meraglim? And the reason for that is, so first of all, I just thought it was interesting that all these things happen in such close succession. Mm-hmm. But also the reason for this is because the Meraglim should have learned from Miriam the fact that she got Saras and she had to leave the camp. They should have understood the severity of evil speech, of Lashon Hara. And nevertheless, they didn't learn from it, and they came back and repeated the same mistake. So that's kind of a lesson that the Torah is telling us, that they went ahead and made the same mistake Miriam did right afterwards. And people of their level should have learned and should have learned from that.
They were the heads of the tribes. They weren't, like you said previously.
So
these were not.
Right, they were very important people selected from each tribe. Actually, the heads of the tribes themselves weren't sent. The official Nesiim.
No, I don't mean the head.
Right, they were heads.
These were high up, respected people in their tribe.
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly.
It was the Nasi head, not like just.
Yeah, they were very important. Right. I thought, for some reason, I thought there was like the Nesiim, but it wasn't, because the Nesiim had to stay behind in order to lead. And
the Nesiim actually were interesting. I just heard this recently. They were picked to be the Nasi of their tribe because in Egypt they were
the taskmasters.
Over the Jewish people,
right?
And they refused to make the Jews work harder, and they took the beatings themselves.
They showed real leadership, right. And therefore they were worthy.
I saw that recently.
Yeah.
I didn't know that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had the quotas, and they when the Jewish people didn't meet it, they didn't push it or try to force them to do it. The Jewish people did what they could do, and they took the beating for the Jews.
Yeah.
It's a real leader.
Wow.
Takes what
It's a beating for
Yeah.
his nation.
It's very powerful.
Okay, so
Can we say the same about our leaders in this country now?
No.
now I just want to. So I just want to say that one more thing about the Meraglim, two more things, but the question is, so we see that at the end of the day, it says Al Pi Hashem by Hashem. Hashem didn't command Moshe to send them, right? But at the end of the day, it seems like at the end it was, and we see that Moshe actually gave them advice. So number one, we see that even though Hashem was displeased, Hashem gave them advice. Hashem gave them a way to succeed, and Moshe told them how, and they didn't listen. And I'm going to explain what I mean. There's a story of Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi and Eliyahu Hanavi. Now, this is a very, very good story. You've heard the story, but I want to say it again just because it's a great story. So Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi was a Tana, I believe, and Rabbi Yeshua, he was a Tana, and he davened to Hashem. He wanted to meet Eliyahu Hanavi. So he davens, and Eliyahu Hanavi comes and says, "What do you want?" He says, "I want to go and see what you do in the world. What do you do? What's your job?"
Okay.
And he says, "I'm sorry, that's no can do." He says, "Why not?" The answer is because you're going to see things which you will not be able to handle. You won't understand them. It's too much for you. He says,
Don't ask me questions.
yeah, so he said, okay. No, he said, nevertheless, I want to come with you. He says, okay, let's go. They travel. They come.
But there's a stipulation. You can't ask me anything.
So over here, I saw the stipulation only after the first thing. Yeah. Anyway, I'm saying it exactly how I saw it in the Me'am Loyas.
Okay.
So he said, go. They're going. They come to the home of a wealthy guy. No, they come to the home of a poor man.
Poor man and a poor wife.
Yeah, come a poor man. Yeah. They come to the home of a poor man, and this poor man greets them happily, with such a smile on their face. He treats them like kings. Imagine they have whatever meager stuff they have, but they shared it with them. They gave them so much attention. They treated them like royalty. Both him and his wife. And the only thing they had was the cow that would give them milk. That was their parnasa. At midnight, Eliyahu Hanavi gets up. Mishum Levi, also he sees he gets up. And Eliyahu Hanavi gives a whack on the head of the cow dies. And Navi's like, Mishum Levi is like, what you just did the greatest of sins. How can you do this? They gave you everything. They treated you so good, and this is how you repay them. And Navi says, be quiet. If you're going to ask me questions, I'm going to go right now. You can't ask any questions. Levi was like, okay. So they keep on going, and they come to the home of a very rich man. The guy's in the middle of remodeling his home. He doesn't even look at them. He paid them no attention. He didn't even give them to eat or drink. And at midnight, Eliyahu Hanavi gets up. He davens. He quickly, miraculously builds this guy an incredible palace with 180 rooms. 180 rooms. You can imagine how big this palace is. Mishum Levi is like, what is going on? None of this makes sense. Yeah, it's himself. And then they continue going. They come to a city of rich people. Rich people, again, they treated them very badly, didn't pay them any attention, didn't want to look at them, and didn't want to give them to eat or drink. The next morning when they get up, Eliyahu Hanavi davens that they should all be leaders. All of them should have many, many leaders. Mishum Levi like, what is going on? And then they come to a town of poor people, but the poor people treated them so good. They treated them so nicely, like royalty, like gold. And they gave them everything they had. And Eliyahu Hanavi davens for them that they should only have one leader. So Rabbi Shimon Levi cannot hold it in anymore. Rabbi Shimon Levi is like, okay, you know what? You got to tell me. I know I won't be able to travel with you anymore. I need you to answer me.
Just answer me, though.
Yeah, you got to tell me why. So Rabbi Shimon Levi asks, why did you kill the cow? So he said his wife was supposed to die. And his wife is more precious to him than gold or jewels.
And the cow. More precious.
Of course, more precious than the cow. So in order to spare his wife, I had to give a life for a life. So I killed the cow. And he said, so why did you pray for the rich man to have a palace? He said, well, if that person would have dug another 2 to 3 amas, which is around, let's say, 5 feet under, when he was doing construction, he would have found a very big treasure. He would have become even way richer than he is. So I built him this thing so he wouldn't find it. And because this building was made through miracles, it's not going to last for long. It's going to crumble. And he's never going to find the treasure. Okay. And what about wishing these people that they should have, the nasty people, that they should have many leaders? They should all become leaders. It says, well, many leaders is actually the biggest curse. It leads to quarreling and to destruction.
They're not going to be able to have any decisions.
Right, they're not going to agree, and they're going to fight, and they're not going to have harmony. And the people who treat us nicely, I pray that they should have only one leader, because under one leader, you can unite, and there's peace, and it's actually the greatest blessing.
It's interesting differences of the versions of the story.
Yeah. Exactly, because I mean, again, I'm reading what it says, but the story, like he wished them they should have leaders, right?
Yeah, the way I saw it written quoting I think it's the Gemara, or I don't know exactly where the original is.
Yeah,
but it's not Liam Lois. Maybe it's Midrash.
Well, the Miyam Lois is clearly bringing it somewhere else.
Right. I'm saying like this is quoting the original, a different source than Miyam Lois. It's because this is in Rabbi Jesse's book, the on the Chassidics of Joy.
Oh, okay.
He brings this story in that book.
Right.
He tells them you can't answer any questions before we start.
Right. Yeah. So also the kids' book that I read also had that version.
So the fact that the cow, and he didn't just hit it. When they're leaving, they prayed for the cow to die, and he gets a look and he says, "I told you." So he stops.
Oh, okay.
Then they get to the second place, and it was a crack in the walls, and the from a big palace. And Eliyahu Hanavi, when they're leaving, prayed that there should be no cracks in the walls. And then the other two are the same.
Mm-hmm.
But it was always as they're leaving the city, Eliyahu Hanavi prayed for multiple leaders or prayed for one leader.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And so, but it's in the crack, and with the major differences in yours. It's the guy who's going to dig deeper, and the one I read, it was the fact that
crack in the wall.
The treasures were in the wall themselves.
Oh, okay.
And he prayed the fact that they should never crack.
Interesting. Okay. I read that. I read it a long time ago.
Really don't change them.
No, but
it's interesting. Yeah.
These differences interesting.
Yeah,
I do too. Whenever you're reading different literature and you see similar stories, you're like, wait a minute, I read it this way.
Yeah.
It doesn't change.
And so why is this story relevant here? Because Moshe Rabbeinu told them, "Koil nasi bahem," right? It says that Moshe Rabbeinu sent them every one of the shvatim, right, had a nasi, but it says nasi singular language. In other words, Moshe. This is a hint that's saying Moshe told them, you should appoint one person who's going to be the head. But they didn't. They all made themselves kulam anashim. It says, what did they left? Kulam anashim. All of them were men, plural, which means that they decided to give themselves the role of all of them being, important and people with opinions and people who should be deciders, which ultimately led them to do what they did. So you see from the story that it would have been much better if they would have had amongst them one person who would lead them. Something interesting there. And also, last week's video, pretty much at the beginning, we talk about why maybe it would have been better if they would have sent women instead of men.
Yeah.
As Meraglim.
Did we mention last year about the Giants and what happened to the Giants after we left and came back?
Oh, you mentioned, you had a whole question about that. Yeah, we did talk about the Giants. I actually wanted to mention one thing about the Giants, which is that their names.
Do very well next year. Hopefully, that one.
What?
New York Giants should do very well.
New York Giants. New York Giants. So the thing about
we were talking about the Nephilim Giants, but yeah.
So it's a thing. Something short about the Giants. Their names actually meant something, and one of their names was Sheshai. And Sheshai, one of the reason for his name being Sheshai was because he actually had 6 fingers instead of 5.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Six-fingered giant.
Yeah.
It's actually a dominant trait.
Of what?
Genes, the dominant versus recessive, having a 6 finger is a dominant trait.
Really?
Yeah.
That's very strange.
The funny part about it, I know somebody with 6 fingers.
Uh-oh.
They have greater grip strength.
Well,
You know, me serious. Like
I'm sure an extra finger gives you pretty good grip.
Well, extra finger, extra set of muscles probably does give you more of a grip.
Is the door closed?
You've never known
It's
how
his,
loud that music is.
it's his subwoofers, man.
So that music is so you think the door was open and he was with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good thing only the sound came in, not the smell.
Okay. Oh,
You like that, huh?
okay. So, in the name of the Arizal, Reb Menachem Zemba brings the name of something very interesting. And this is, I found this fascinating. Listen to this. The mitzvah of Bikurim is actually a tikkun for the chet HaMeraglim, for the sin of the Meraglim.
How so?
What do you bring as Bikurim?
The fruit.
You bring fruits.
For people who don't know, the bikurim is the first fruit from a tree.
Right. Bikurim comes from the word of Bechar, right? The first fruits that come from the. Well, by the way, I would love for you to say it. It's not going to come through as strong. So that's why, yeah. Bikurim.
Mike, you didn't bring a third mic.
We have to bring you a mic next time. But the
B&H's website.
I believe me, I have the mic.
Yeah.
So anyways, the Bikurim are a tikkun for the Chet HaMeraglim. How so? Because the Bikurim are the first of the fruits that grow on the tree after the 3 years of Erla. The first of the fruits are brought to the Beis HaMikdash, given to the Kehanim. And
was there a prayer said before?
There's something you say, yeah. But what's interesting in the Mishnah is that when they mention the fruits of in the Mishnah, it mentions it mentions the process of Bikurim, and it says if he sees a fig that has ripened, or grapes that have ripened, or a pomegranate that has ripened, only the 3 fruits that are brought by the Meraglim. So the Arizal mentions that this is a tikkun for the Chet HaMeraglim, and the Mishnah itself only mentions the 3 fruits that they brought as an example for what should be brought as Bikurim.
What?
How crazy is that?
I never know that.
But these are the 3 holy fruits.
Well, there's 7 holy fruits, but the Mishnah only brings it as example of 3 that the Meraglim brought.
What are the 7?
Chita se'ira, so wheat and barley, geffen te'ena, rimoin.
But wheat and barley is not fruit.
Yeah, but it's still considered the 7.
The 7 fruits are not fruits. It's 7 grain.
7 species.
Of vegetation.
So it's wheat, barley, dates. I'm not saying in order. Dates, pomegranates, figs, grapes, and olives.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. These are the 7 fruits that we
So it's just incredible how you see, like, this is so clear. If you learn it on its own, you're like, okay, whatever. These are just fruits. But once you see the correlation, you can't unsee it, right?
I never noticed it before.
Yeah. Well.
No, I'm saying I never heard that part either.
Yeah. No, it's incredible.
That's cool.
Yeah. And this is Arizal. Arizal brings us down. Now, I wanted to talk about the Haftarah. So the Haftarah, the connection is obvious.
This Haftarah, the connection is so strong.
Right, it's very obvious. It talks about the spies. When Yeshua sent Pinchas and Kalev.
But it's interesting. They're nameless. It's only in commentary that we have the names of who spies were.
Right, they don't show it. Right.
The Haftarah itself, they're nameless. The Rebbe has a beautiful sikha
on why they're nameless.
Yeah, on why they're nameless.
I'm sure it has to do with Bittul and.
It's the fact that the first time around, all the Meraglim, they were all big people and they all had their own ideas, their own agendas.
Right, which we just mentioned.
Right.
Yeah.
And this time they went. Then it was commanded. The first time it wasn't commanded by God. It was us coming and saying, "Hey, we should do this." Now it's commanded by God, and the 2 people were doing it as a mission from Hashem directly through Yeshua. So they're completely butthole and completely nullify themselves to the whole mission. So therefore, they didn't even have names.
Wow.
Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah. See, you see the beautiful thing about that is that, like, when you say there's something about the Rebbe on it. Well, the Lubavitcher could already smell what it's going to be because we were so conditioned by the Rebbe about these ideas. It's like, oh, why weren't they named? It's like, bittul. Like, I'm sure there's ideas and like obviously the Rebbe, brings it as a beautiful thing.
Themselves, in other words.
What?
They did it to themselves.
Who?
You said they made themselves nameless.
No.
They're
in the book of Yeshua, they're nameless.
They're nameless, but the reason is right. They nullified themselves to the cause. They didn't have their own agenda. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so
I love this Haftarah.
yeah,
There's so many things in it. Like it's not just minutes.
Well, so the connection on a superficial level looks like it's very similar,
So different.
but the whole thing was different. And so I want to shout again.
And the whole trip was obviously miraculous. Like the first Meraglim, it was miraculous because the giants didn't see them because they were burying their bodies. There was a big funeral because I think it was Og that died. Some big important person in the land died.
Well, Oig hadn't died yet because they still had an encounter with.
Fine.
Yeah.
Fair who, but someone passed away.
Eov,
that was it. So someone passed away, and so they had a big funeral. So like they're all like, it was all miraculous, but it was all behind the scenes. Whereas the second time around, it was nothing but miracles. Like it was open.
I mean,
miracles.
So 100%. But there's the whole. I read this on Chabad.org. I normally use a sefer, but my sefer was stuck in Connecticut. I'm getting it back, God willing, on Monday. So I went to Chabad.org. I'm very happy I did it. Rabbi Yitzi Hurwitz, may he have a refuah shlema. He's always beautiful things. He writes. I mentioned this last year. He writes divrei Torah. There's a machine that they look at his eye movement and he writes with his eye movement. It's incredible technology, and he gives divrei Torah every week. So
wait, he's paralyzed?
Yeah, he unfortunately has ALS.
He has ALS, disease, so he can't move. The only thing he can move is his eyes.
May he have a refuah shlema.
Oh man, wow.
And
even before that, from my understanding, people know he's just an incredible man. Very special.
Yeah, and I just want to mention something that he said. So he goes through the whole thing. He explains why they're not similar. But one of the things that I just mentioned is when the Jewish people when the spies went by Moshe's time, they went to check out the 7 nations. They went into the entire Eretz Yisrael. That is the avodah of tzaddikim, right? Tzaddikim are able to transform their midas. They're able to transform. But we have 7 midas, 7 attributes, right? Where we have 10 faculties, 3 intellectual and 7 emotional. A tzaddik has complete control of himself to the point where he can control and actually change his actual attributes, right? Versus the average person can't really do that. The average person can't, transform how his built-in emotions work, right? Everyone has their own personality. And that is symbolized in Yerichai, right? When the spies went, that symbolizes the person who is not a tzaddik, and what's his job? Like we know what we learned in Tanya, that our job is to control only 3 things, and those are called the garments of the soul. Yerichai comes from the name. One of the interpretations of the name Yerichai, you could say, it comes from the word of reach, smell, and smell, it kabbalistically speaks about the garments of the soul,
which sense that wasn't taken effect for the MITZVAH. All the other senses were affected because they had something to do with it. There was nothing with smell. So
smell wasn't affected by the chet. That's interesting.
Because
it wasn't part of the.
And it's the only sense that directly connected to your brain.
Wow.
Everything else is.
I heard that when Mashiach comes, he's going to determine where you are spiritually by smelling.
Yeah.
You heard about that one?
Bathe in mitzvahs, my friend. Bathe in
perfume, yeah. Give me the mitzvahs. Let's go. Got any mitzvahs? Okay, so but we're going back to this. So Yerichai from the word of smell, from the root word of reach, smell, and smell kabbalistically talks about the 3 garments of the soul. That is something we can control, right? So when the spies went in the time of Moshe Rabbeinu, the 12 spies, when they went across the whole Eretz Yisrael. The 2 spies, where did they go? Only Yerichai. They only got to a house in Yerichai. They didn't go past. So what is he saying here? He's saying that if a person manages to control his thoughts, speech, and action, which are the three garments of the soul, because no matter what, you can always control what you say and do. And even when you're thinking, you can never stop thinking, but you can definitely veer your thoughts away from bad thoughts. If you only conquer Yerichai, your three garments, you'll conquer everything. Don't worry about the fact that you say, but I have anger and I have this and I have that. I have all these built-in bad things that I didn't even create myself with. God gave me these built-in things that as much as I work on them, they're still going to be part of me. And the answer is just conquer Yericho. Just conquer the garments. Conquer the garments of your soul. And when you do that, the rest will fall into place. Because you won't allow anything to come out through these three garments other than, if you control it properly, other than the right thing. And then all the things that you thought were bad can actually be harnessed for good. Because your emotional attributes will only come by way of these three garments which you're in control of.
Wow, that was powerful.
Yitzi Horowitz, guys. Obviously based on what the Rebbe says, but yeah.
I love reading his stuff because it's
yeah.
He's bringing from multiple sichos always, and it's purposes, but he just has a way of
I love it.
just bringing from different parts of the Rebbe's office and condensing it.
Yeah. And one last thing, we're going to talk about Pirkei Avos, and it says in the Mishnah that a person nifrayin min adam b'fanav shlei b'fanav. You take away from the person in front of them and not in front of them. In other words, with their knowledge or without their knowledge, or with their agreeing, with their, they agree with it or not. When a person has, for whatever reason, he has to, be accountable for whatever he has done. So, if let's say it was, God forbid, something negative. So that's how it's done. And at face value, you'll think that this means that sometimes, whether a person knows or not, he's going to be punished. But what this is saying, it's wow. Sorry about that, guys. Nice to What this Mishnah is actually saying is that the same punishment happens both with a person knowing and not knowing. What does that mean? It's like what happened to David HaMelech. David HaMelech, when he was rebuked by Eliyahu Hanavi for what happened with Bathsheba, first he was asked, how would you judge a person who was rich, who had a bunch of cattle, and who went and stole one sheep from a poor person, the only sheep that he had? David HaMelech says, he deserves death. Right? And then they turn around to him and say, but that's what you did. That's what you did. And right away, David HaMelech, he said, you're right, which is to his credit, right? We see by Adam Rishon, the biggest part of the chet was that he didn't recognize his sin. He said, no, Hashem, you gave me this woman. But David HaMelech, right away, he said, I've sinned. And this is what he's saying. David HaMelech, without his knowledge, passed judgment of his own punishment. And then they said, oh, you see? And then it was with his knowledge. Now the question is, why does this need to happen? Why is it? Because Pirkei Avos is saying that this is what happens to every person. A person is only punished once he passes judgment. Right? This is what happens. A person, in order for him to be judged, they bring it something, a scenario in front of him that's happening to somebody else, and when he passes judgment on it, nonchalantly, he's actually passing judgment on himself. So the question is, why is this necessary? And the answer is because, very simply, every single Jew has an neshama. Neshama is a piece of God. That means that nothing in this world, not even the heavenly court, not even the highest angels, nothing in the realms of the most spiritual realms can have control over a Jewish soul. The only one who can actually pass the verdict on a Jewish soul is a Jewish soul. So in order for that to happen, they bring this case unbeknowingly to a person so that he should pass judgment, and then, only then, can a verdict be administered. So that's why you should always be like, see people doing bad things. I'm sure there's a good reason for why he decided to shoot that guy. I'm just kidding. Yeah, Rabbi Yitzchak Roditchev definitely definitely was personified that idea. Yeah.
Seeing good and everything.
Yeah, just an idea of judging favorably was like, there was a guy who was eating on Yom Kippur, and he was eating a pig on Yom Kippur. And he asked him question after question after question. He's like, you must not know it's Yom Kippur. You must not know you can't eat pig. You must not know you can't eat on Yom Kippur. You must be sick.
You must know that's not pig. And you must
not know. Right. He said like every possible reason why. And the Jew said, I'm feeling fine. I know it's pig. I know it's Yom Kippur. I know you're not allowed to. He's like, no, I know what I'm doing. And Rabbi Yitzchak at the end turns around and says to God, look at your people, how great they are. They're not willing to utter a lie out of their mouth. Right? Like, crazy. So yeah. If we could only take a page out of that book.
Well, the first year I tried to look that way at our current administration, but then I realized it's just a complete idiot.
No, our administration is beyond redemption. Don't worry.
Don't make fun of the kind of council like that.
You don't want to get canceled, guys. Come on.
Okay, guys. Again, this camera went out. This it has a smaller battery, so it happens often. We're gonna sign out. You're welcome to come into frame.
Yeah, come on, man. Come on. Come on. The ghost. The people gotta see. Come on. Don't be shy.
Wait, we cutting out we done with the Parshah video?
Yeah.
Come on.
So no, there's something to add.
Oh, okay. If there's something to add, we're gonna point the cameras at Hanan.
Come on. Get closer.
No, what's that? We have them like here.
All right. So actually, it's interesting that tomorrow is the 23rd of Sivan, which the Rebbe brings in a Sicha that the Megillah relates on the 23rd day of Sivan. After the hanging of Haman, the scribes, the kings were called, and they wrote whatever Mordechai commanded. Commanded drafted the royal decree giving the Jews license to defend themselves and kill those rising up against them, to kill them, nullifying the precious decree. The decree was dispatched to all 127 provinces of Ahasuerus' empire. This led to the Jewish people knowing how to defeat the enemy on the 13th of Adar, which was then followed by the celebration of Purim. Everything Torah's internal repeated itself each year. The above-mentioned decree of Mordechai repeats itself every 23rd of Sivan. Today, the scribes are being called again to draft the royal decree. The scribes being the scribes of Hashem, those who is called Ahasuerus, that being all those who belong him. The Sofrim, the scribes, write whatever Mordechai asks. Like every Jew is like Mordechai. Those who don't bow to anything against Torah. So on this day, on the 23rd of Sivan, which is on Shabbos this year, every Jew, even though they're in Golus, as Mordechai was, even though there is a darkness, as there was during the decree of Haman, nevertheless, every Jew has the power to accomplish what he wants the same way Mordechai accomplishes it. We can request Hashem for anything we want, and we'll be granted by Hashem itself. So this is from anash.org. Very important thing. The fact that tomorrow, keep in mind, pray for whatever you need. And if you missed it, pray anyway.
Okay.
So the 23rd of Sivan.
Wow, that was powerful, man.
Okay. Thank you, Hanan, for that. We're going to go back to...
Oh, it's on camera.
What?
You moved it, didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
Slick. Might as well come up then.
Come on.
Okay.
No more hiding.
So here we go. Guys, I can't...
No, I'm trying to get between the two of you. Oh, there you go. Fine.
Okay, so 1 second. Let's move this a little bit more.
Like, where's the camera?
Where is the camera? Oh, there.
Oh, I thought it was the computer.
No. Okay, so we're just gonna say thank you for if you made it to the end. You're an absolute legend. And yeah, should we end it off with a kula? Should we do it?
Of course, why not?
Yeah. Okay. I just did this to myself.
Okay, he's gonna do the somersault
Where? There's
by
no-
popular demand.
We have to just.
Oh, and there goes.
Oh, that went out. Everything went out.
Did it?
Yeah, it's all out.
How?
Well, something fell.
That doesn't make sense.
Are we still live?
We should be.
Yeah, we're still live.
Oh.
No, it only went. No, only went.
All the cameras out.
What? Oh, I know why.
It's...
No, we're live.
Okay, we're live.
We were live the whole time.
I'm
Okay.
saying
No, we were live.
We're back
now
in-
we got a picture.
Okay. Yeah.
We lost our only 3 viewers. No, they're still there.
Oh, we lost 3 viewers.
Guys, be nice. Okay,
3.5. Sorry.
Whoa.
Not sure what a half a viewer is, but hey.
Okay, we're gonna do the kula now.
You can do it.
Well, the cool goes in this direction.
I'd do it, but I had a knee surgery, so I'm excused.
Hopefully, I can do it without hurting myself.
Don't hurt yourself, man. There you go. That was the best one, man.
Okay.
That was the most conservative one.
Okay. Now,
Oh shoot! Now we got another one. Oh, all right. You guys are inspiring me to do
It
it.
was a group thing.
okay.
I like that.
1 second. This is like, okay, take this out, yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. Good Shabbos, and we will see you next week. Please smash that like button and please recommend us to your friends. Good Shabbos. What am I doing?